This is another example of this government in particular going after independent minds that have a different view to them. They've done it with the chief scientist, they've done it with Flannery and so on. Dutton ought to go to bed with a mirror and wake up to himself. It is not appropriate that people who are prepared to put themselves into these positions that are contentious are then vilified by a government. I think that's just wrong. I think it diminishes us as a nation, and Dutton, of all people, ought to know better.
Nick, is the government hypersensitive to criticism here?
I think that the role is independent, but I think it's inherent in the role that you have to maintain the confidence of the Australian people. And for me, I mean, Gillian Triggs lost me when she decided to award, or she said that the government should award $350,000 in compensation to an Indonesian refugee who'd beaten his pregnant Australian wife to death with a bicycle. She thought he needed compensation because he'd been unfairly detained. Now, that may be a legal view, but it's way out of step with what average people would think about the issue of domestic violence and how somebody should be treated in those circumstances. So I think regardless of the politics, I really do think that she has lost the trust and is damaging the Commission by staying on much longer.
Sarah, certainly the President of the Human Rights Commission has criticised both sides of politics. On Friday night, she criticised both major parties for what she said, teaming up to pass scores of laws over the past 15 years that threatened fundamental rights and freedoms.
Yeah, and even when she released her report on children in detention earlier this year, she was quite careful to criticise both Chris Bowen and Scott Morrison in that report. The question is, I mean, you know, more focus is always going to fall on the government. Do we really want a Human Rights Commissioner? To what extent do we want a Human Rights Commissioner to be able to criticise the government, I suppose, is the question.